Hey guys, how's it going? Another year has gone by, and so it's time to close it out with top 10s. And so, it's time for FreQuenczy's top 10 worst games reviewed of 2010. Now last year, and actually throughout this year as well, I received many messages asking me why I didn't produce a top 10 worst list of 2009. Well, to put it simply, I felt that I hadn't reviewed enough bad games to complete a full list. However, this year I feel that I have. Barely. But we'll get to that in a bit. Here are the rules for this countdown. Number 1. I can't choose multiple games of the same franchise and style. Example, Sonic the Hedgehog 3 and Sonic & Knuckles. Same franchise, same style. Number 2. The position of where each game is on this countdown is determined by my opinion of the game's overall fun factor, not based on the individual score of each game. Example, Sonic and the Secret Rings and Alien Syndrome are two games I dislike. However, even though Secret Rings received a lower score from me than Alien Syndrome, I would give Secret Rings a better position on a countdown instead of Alien Syndrome because I had more fun with it. It can be a bit tricky to understand, but that's the truth. Now, as a side note, I will not be adding any games into this list that I reviewed in 2009. This countdown is only of 2010 games. Alright, you know the rules, so without further ado, let's begin. Number 10! Transformers Cybertron Adventures. Now, I did give this game a good score, however, remember rule number 2. This game was pretty fun at first, but then it dropped severely due to the heavy repetitiveness of the gameplay. The idea for this game sounds good, but the development made it really boring in some places, and it just gets dull and monotonous in the later levels. Now, the game isn't horrible, but as I said in my review, you'll probably have more fun if you play War for Cybertron on a different console. Number 9! Balloon Pop. Now, this is definitely a game you would not do a double take on. While the game isn't crap, there is like nothing to keep you coming back to it. I've heard a lot on how the controls are broken for this game, and honestly, I don't know what people are talking about. I seriously didn't have a problem with them. Now, I don't think it's fair to give this game so much hate just basing on what you've seen and or heard. This game is exactly what the developers intended it to be. However, that doesn't mean it's worth your time. I think it would be good for young kids, and I'm pretty sure that's what its intention is, but it's still on this list. Save your money and pass on this one. As if I had to tell you that. Number 8! The Simpsons game. To me, this game is like the newer episodes of this cartoon. Not that great. The gameplay was dull throughout most of it, the controls could become a nuisance, and the camera would fight with you throughout each level. So why did I give it an okay score? Well, it's not horrible. However, it definitely isn't great. I think this game is only for seriously devoted fans of the series. To everyone else, play something different. Number 7! Pokemon Battle Revolution. Now, you have to understand, when I reviewed this game, I did not review it with any of the compatible DS Pokemon games. If I had, I'm sure it would have received a higher score. However, since I only had a grand total of 12 Pokemon to battle with, the game can become really dull and monotonous. Yes, it can be pretty fun while you're playing it, but I have never once thought about playing it again, at least without a compatible DS game. Number 6! Game Party 2. Ugh. Now, just like Balloon Pop, this game is what the developers intended it to be. However, the game is really boring. There are so many other party games out there that are better than this one. Most of the games are dull, and the controls for a lot of them are broken. Granted, there were a few that kept my interest for a bit, but there is no way I would ever buy this game, and I'm really hesitant on playing the prequel and sequel. You will definitely not be the life of the party with Game Party 2. Number 5! Astro Boy the video game. Oh man, talk about boring, repetitive, and easy! You can play co-op mode in this game, which is actually bittersweet. Sweet because it's co-op. Bitter because it makes the game even easier. The cutscenes are just ugly, and the amount of fun just decreases with each passing level. Now, I did say in my review that I think this game would be good for young kids, but that's it. This game is a great example of why I tend to steer clear of movie games, and for this game, I suggest you do the same. Number 4! Counterforce. Oh man, this was a bad game. 2 different control schemes on simultaneously to mess you up easily, crappy looking graphics, ear-bleeding sound effects. What's not to like? The main thing I actually thought wasn't bad was that the game isn't boring. Frustrating? Definitely. Dull? Not really. However, you probably should stay away from this game. I remember getting very frustrated at it due to the punishingly hard difficulty in the later levels and having no save points. Now, I've heard that it's supposed to be that way like an arcade game, which, if it is, then I'd have to say, no, it's still crap. The difficulty is just brutal, especially when dealing with bad controls. Unless you like to have a bad time while playing games, stay away from this one. Number 3! Brunswick Pro Bowling. I only played this game for a little over an hour, and that's all I could stand. The controls can be very tricky to figure out, and the overall game is just so boring. If the developers were going for a realistic-looking bowling game, then they did succeed on that part. However, if you haven't played this yet, you don't know how boring and frustrating it can be. This is mainly because the controls worked, at least for me, maybe 40% of the time, and that doesn't mean I bowled a strike every time the controls work correctly. That means the ball would roll at a normal bowling speed instead of half a mile an hour. Even if you've never bowled in real life, you'd still have a better chance of bowling a 300 at an actual bowling alley than in this game. If you want a bowling game for the Wii, stay away from this game and just stick with the bowling game in Wii Sports or Wii Sports Resort. Number 2!
Battle Rage Mech Conflict.
Okay, this game can be pretty fun if, and only if, you have become used to the bad controls, the awful camera, and the glitchy frame rate. And what makes it worse is that even with those horrible factors, the game is still too easy. As I said in my review, there really is no point in playing this game unless you just want to be able to say, yes, I have played this game. Parents, don't be fooled into thinking your kid will like this game just because it's about giant fighting robots. This game is crap and everyone needs to stay away from it. Alright, we've reached number 1, but before we go on, let's recap. Number 10, Transformers Cybertron Adventures. Number 9, Balloon Pop. Number 8, The Simpsons Game. Number 7, Pokemon Battle Revolution. Number 6, Game Party 2. Number 5, Astro Boy the Video Game. Number 4, Counterforce. Number 3, Brunswick Pro Bowling. Number 2, Battle Rage Mech Conflict. And now it's time for number 1, Anubis the Second. Wow, not only is this the worst game I reviewed in 2010, but it is also the worst game I have ever played so far. I don't know what the future holds, but for now, this game is the worst. There is virtually nothing good about this game. The gameplay is crap, the controls are crap, the graphics are crap, the fight system is crap, the game is total crap. And who do we have to thank for this wonderful spawn of evil? Why, Data Design Interactive, of course. Thank you so much, DDI. I had so much fun with this game. When I was destroying it, I think it's an understatement to say stay away from this game, but I will anyway. Stay away! Well, there you have it, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. Although most of these games were a pain to play, I still had fun reviewing them. This was actually my first top 10 worst list since I started reviewing, and there will be more to come in the future. See you later!